Hi everyone, long time and no see. First of all, I'm just gonna tell you that we're gonna film this in one take, and there's not gonna be any editing because my editing program and my computer aren't getting along. And that sucks, and it's sort of driving me insane. So there won't be any intro or anything, we're just getting right into it. Today, we are doing a review on the Death Gate cycle, which is written by Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman. As you probably know by now, I've been speaking about Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman a few times. If you want to know more about authors, you can check out my earlier book reviews down here, and I also made an author special on Tracy Hickman. You can see a link to that right here. So, the Death Gate cycle. It's a 7-part fantasy series that take place in our world in the future. In this world there are humans, of course, dwarves and elves, because obviously there's dwarves and elves living in our world right now. The explanation they make in the book is just that they, I don't know, been hiding, living in their own places. I don't know where. They never say. Some humans has really gotten in touch with the world's magic and developed into a new species called Sartan. Then some of the Sartans evolved in a different way and become patrons. Both races are strong magical creatures that both uses rune magic, which is the most powerful magic that exists. It's so powerful that you can break a world into 4 pieces. We will come back to that part later. The difference, however, between Sartan and Patron are their philosophy. Sartans want to rule us childlike, lesser creatures by guiding us and making sure we make the right choices, being peaceful, just making everything nice and peaceful and perfect. That's the Sartan way. Patrons, on the other hand, want to make the world great by ruling over us lesser races. And as you might predict, this creates a big conflict between Sartan and Patron, because they're both equally powerful, but they have different philosophies. This whole conflict ends with the Sartans deciding to split the world into 4 pieces, or into 4 new worlds: 1 air, fire, water, and earth. No perfect order, everything in its place. They also decide to put every patron in a place called the Labyrinth that is located in the Nexus. The point with putting the patrons in the Labyrinth is to correct their behavior, and when they've been corrected, there's a nice Sartan-built city for them outside in the Nexus. Yeah. And this is the world where our story takes place. And the story itself begins 1,000 years after the Sundering, the splitting of the world. And we're in the air world, Arianas, and it's time for the execution of Hugh the Hand. We get to follow Hugh throughout the first book, but he's not the main character. The main character in this book is Hapolo. He's a patron who's been sent out to explore the 4 worlds by his master, Tsar, I think it's called. And the objective of Hapolo's mission is not only to explore, but also to develop chaos, look for Sartans, and make way for the Patron takeover. Because that's their plan. They're going back to the original plan to rule the world, but now it's just the worlds, since they're more than one. There was something I was planning to say about Hapolo that I forgot about because I didn't write it down. Oh, whatever. This is bothering me because there was something and I thought it was important. That's why I started saying it, but now it's, well, whatever. Obviously, it wasn't that important because then I would have written it down, right? Mm. Since this is a book series by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, of course we get to experience the world through many different people. And since there are 4 worlds, there are different people in every single world. So there's also the 5th that contains the labyrinth and the nexus. So a lot of worlds and a lot of people. Some of my favorite characters, however, are as following. Hugh the Hand, who is an assassin in the air world. There's Alfred, he's a royal servant, also from the air world. Limbeck, a dwarf, who's far-sighted. That's what they call when you can't see very far, right? Limbeck is a dwarf from the earth world. There's Grundle, dwarf, daughter to the dwarf rulers, and she lives in the water world. There's the Keeper of Souls. I think he was my favorite, but the Keeper of... Then there's different titles. They're elves, and they live in their world. Everyone's from their world for some reason. I don't know if I like that world the most, but yeah, whatever. And my absolute favorite character in this entire book series, Sinfab, who's also Fizba. I will tell you more about this in the video next week. Apollo begins his big journey knowing everything and having an answer to every question there is. But as he travels and as time passes and the more he knows, the more question he starts having. What is right and what is wrong? What is good and what is evil? And he realizes that the world isn't as black and white as he first thought. It's rather more complex. Which leads us into the next part of this video, the characters. And as I already mentioned, the characters are very complex in this series, very, very human, especially Hapolo and Alfred, who, as I see them, are the main characters. First there's Apollo, and then Alfred is the lesser but almost equally big character. And throughout the books, you get to know them more and more, and there's so many levels to these characters, even the lesser characters, like Hugh the Hand or Limbeck or whoever, even Bane, the prince in the air world. They have very, very many levels, and there's explanation to why they behave in a certain way and why their fears is this and why they won't do that, and it's so well written. I really love the depth, the deep, that the characters are so deep as they are. And as the characters get to know themselves, we also get to know them more. And as their relationships, and as their relationships evolve, so do the characters. As everything that's written by Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, these books are very well written. It really grabs hold of you on the first page, and it puts you through this great adventure. You get to see new worlds. There's good, evils, and humanoid, very, very, very big, and I can't say human characters, but you know how humans are. There's 500,000 levels to everyone, and that's how the characters really are in these books, and I like that. The story builds on itself. At first, I thought it would be difficult to read a series that is built up in the way this is. The first 4 books takes place in all the 4 different worlds, which means there are different characters in every book. And since the first book begins with Hugh the Hand, and it hasn't really been made clear who's the main character is, I was nervous. What if there's just gonna be new characters in every book? It's not gonna be hard and difficult and boring to read, but no. As it turns out, Hapolo is the main character, which you probably can figure out if you're a little smart and actually think about what you read while reading it. And the books really build on each other. Even though the first four are very different, they do hang on to each other. They do build on each other. And there is a reason why you read the first book before the third or the fourth, because you have to read them in that order to get all the story, to understand the whole story. And when you read the first four books, it's so freaking exciting that you can't let go of the series until you finished it. That's how well written it is. As I said, it's Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman. As you probably know, I like the way they write. And the books are, of course, they're exciting, they're funny, they're sad, they have everything. Even a little touch of love. Both the common everyday love, miserable love where you can't even realize that you love the person that you love and then you can't find that person. And there's also this Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. Elf in love with a human, and that is not allowed. Ba-da-da. So it has so many things in it, and I really like this. Obviously. the only thing I had an issue with is that I found the first 2 or 3 books in my bookcase, and they were in Swedish, so I began reading the story in Swedish. Problem is that the only first 4 books are translated, so I I finished reading the series in English. That's what I want to say. But yeah, I find it as easy to read in Swedish as in English, though I prefer to read English books in English. And that was actually everything I had to say about the series. It's great. You should read it. If you pick up a Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman book, you will have a great book in your hands. So I have nothing more to say about their writing because I've talked about it so much before. And next week I am planning to start a new series. I'm gonna film it now, so you don't have to worry about me not uploading it, because it will get up. And yeah, that's actually everything for today. So have a great time until next time, and I see you soon. Bye!